Hi, I'm Dave Darlington, and welcome to this series of deep dive videos about Wave StudioRack, the plugin chainer that's been completely reimagined and redesigned with 3 new modules. And today we're going to talk about the third new module, the macros. Macros are basically super controls that allow you to connect any and all parameters with any and all plugins within the chain and control them together. So it's really a wide open, limitless possibility of what you can control with a single knob. If you saw the original video about the introduction and I took you through the various parameters, I showed you some macros on my vocals, and in some of these other deep dives I've showed you some macros, but I didn't really talk about how we actually construct them. So I want to go back to the guitar solo macro that we used to talk about multiband processing and show you some of these macros and how they were created. It's very easy to create a macro. All you do, you just click on this assign button here so that you can assign parameters to your macro. Choose the macro you want to work on. I click number 5 and then go into the plugin and click on it. Click assign again so you're no longer assigning. And now you see that this plugin controls the parameter that I clicked on. Double click above it, name it, and that would be delay time. Simple as that. Once you've assigned the parameters, you can look in the edit window. This tells you quite a bit of information about what you've done so far, and you can tweak the control range, which means how far the plugin parameter itself is changing, and also the macro range. Maybe you don't want a certain parameter to start happening until you get part way up. So you can drag these bands like into the middle, like only at the bottom, only at the top, somewhere in the middle. And it gives you a real quick indicator of what all the macros are assigned to. So in this case, Insanity is assigned to rack the slot 3 output. Metal Box is the slot 4 output. That's over here. And this is assigned to rack output number 5. Now you see there's 4 bands of the one I called pressure. It changes the threshold of the Renaissance axe. It changes the gain. And in the CLA mix hub, it also changes some of the output and dynamic stuff. So I'm going to show you how that works. If I right click on pressure, you can see right here that they're all assigned to the things I told you about. And let's clean up a little here. Let's go to the Renaissance axe, the CLA here. Now watch when I turn the pressure knob, you're going to see threshold go down, the gain go down a little bit more. You see the threshold on my Bluey on the CLA mix hub go up, so I'm squashing harder. And in order to compensate for that gain reduction, I have an increased output. So it's not just a one-to-one, because I didn't want so much output as I turned up the threshold in the CLA. I only wanted a little bit. So you can control the values right here. I don't want to start all the way down. I want to start at 0, my threshold. And I only want it to go up a little bit to like maybe 1.5. So it's a completely flexible matrix, and you can set it up so that before you turn the macros, it's processing the way you want. And then when you start to turn the macros, it begins at a certain point in the range of the plugin where you really want it to do some more work. And the great thing is, any of the macros can control anything. So one macro can control 2 plugins, and if that plugin wants to be controlled by yet another macro, you can reassign that same parameter to a different macro. The possibilities are really endless, and it's just limited by your imagination. I found myself, as I started to play with it and learn how these things worked, I started to think about all the things that I could put on one macro. And then it's so much easier to automate that macro in your DAW. You just have the macro go up and down, as opposed to trying to do 5 things up and down or 3 things up and 1 thing down at the right ratio. You can have that all tweaked out within StudioRack. It's pretty amazing. So have fun, and if you do some great presets, you can store them, open them up in different DAWs, and enjoy. It's great.